The Iron Giant was originally released in 1999 by Warner Brothers Films. It was the first feature-length film directed by filmmaker Brad Bird, whose credits now include both animated films like The Incredibles and Ratatouille, and also live-action films like Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, and Tomorrowland starring George Clooney. Upon its initial release, the film received almost unanimous and widespread critical acclaim from movie critics, but the film performed poorly at the box office. The film's initial poor box office is now blamed on how poorly Warner Brothers marketed the film. The movie is now considered a classic of film animation. On September 9th, Warner Brothers released the signature edition of The Iron Giant on Blu-ray. This edition is notable for a few reasons. It is the first time that the film has been released on Blu-ray, and director Brad Bird and members of his original animation team have reunited to complete new scenes for the film. Scenes that were originally planned for the final production, but scenes that had to be scrapped due to budget restraints. The original theatrical version is also included, and as near as I can tell, the Blu-ray release contains all the bonus features from previous DVD releases and new bonus material that is unique to this release. Most notable among the new features is an extensive documentary entitled The Giant's Dream, which is a making-of documentary that transcends the usual making-of bonus features that we typically get with these types of releases. Normally, these making-of features are largely fluff pieces. But with this documentary, we get an extremely personal accounting of Brad Bird's life and history with the film. Rewatching this film, and also watching the extensive documentary, The Giant's Dream, has made me realize that The Iron Giant is a tragedy of animation. Not because it's bad, but because it's exceptional. In the included documentary, The Giant's Dream, we are taken back to where the art of animation was prior to Disney releasing The Little Mermaid. At this time, the general feeling by pretty much every movie studio was that there just wasn't any real money in feature animation. And if there was any money, it was going to be made by Disney. Then Disney releases The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast. And suddenly, feature animation is a multi-million-dollar blockbuster industry. Disney is making bank, and every other studio is trying to start their own feature animation department in order to cash in. Among these is Warner Brothers, who once created some of the greatest animated theatrical shorts in motion picture history, with their now famous Looney Tunes and Merry Melody shorts. Warner Brothers puts into production first a film called Quest for Camelot. Put into production second is The Iron Giant. Quest for Camelot is released while The Iron Giant is still in production. The critical reaction is bad, and it bombs. One of the main criticisms levied against Quest for Camelot is that it's trying too hard and failing in its attempt to be like Disney. Throughout the production of The Iron Giant, director Brad Bird is pushing and giving voice to the culture that Warner Brothers Animation needs to give up on trying to imitate Disney, that they need to find their own voice. In interviews, he states, "Let Disney do the fairy princesses. We are going to do our own thing. Mickey Mouse is rated G. Bugs Bunny is rated PG." And it shows in the finished product. The Iron Giant is stylistically different from anything Disney had done so far at that time. It's not a musical. It's not set in some faraway time, but is instead set in the not-too-distant past of the Cold War era, and all the paranoia that implies. It even has some mild swear words and mild bathroom humor. Not that that makes it better, but it does add to making it different from Disney. And here is the parallel that I see that I have to point out before moving forward. After the creation and mega success of Mickey Mouse in the 1920s, every film animation studio was trying to imitate the success of Disney. When we think of Looney Tunes now, most of us think of the now legendary masterpieces of zany comedy that are the classic Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Roadrunner cartoons. What most of us don't realize is that in those early days, the Looney Tunes weren't loony. In fact, during this time, the Looney Tunes were trying to be just like every other studio. They were trying to imitate Disney and make their cartoons cute. And then along came filmmaker Tex Avery, who in the 1930s steered the Warner Brothers house style away from this. Tex Avery is quoted as saying things like, "We are going to do the kind of gags that Disney won't do," and "Let Disney do the fairy tales." This was the driving philosophy, and it led to decades of some of the greatest, funniest, and influential cartoon shorts ever made. And this is why I say that The Iron Giant is a tragedy of animation, because I see the parallel. Brad Bird, like Tex Avery some 60 years or so ago, was pushing for Warner Brothers to steer away from imitation and to push for innovation in their feature animation. Had Warner Brothers realized what they had with The Iron Giant, had they properly marketed it, I have no doubt that The Iron Giant could have been a blockbuster at the box office. Had it been as successful commercially as it was critically, it could have signaled a new era in feature animation for Warner Brothers. But instead, its poor box office put the brakes on the entire feature animation department. The Iron Giant is deserving of its film classic status. It has strong themes about paranoia, the human soul, and personal sacrifice. If you haven't seen it yet, make the time to do so. I have really enjoyed rediscovering this film through this new Blu-ray release, but I can't help but think of what might have been. What other films we might have gotten. What new directions Warner Feature Animation might have gone in. And where feature animation might be today, had things just gone a little bit differently. Hey, this is TJR, and thank you so much for watching. So, have you seen this movie? Have you checked out the new Blu-ray release? And what do you think? I'll be looking forward to reading your comments on this video. And thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.